Storm Stevens rained sixes at the Spitfire ground. There wasn't much play possible on the first day at the Spitfire ground. Kent managed to put on 70 runs for the loss of Ollie Robinson and Zach Crawley, both men falling to Van der Hoogten, all square heading into day 2. But Jack Leading was the first man to go. Neser found a route through to his pads, and the Kent batsman was out LBW for 2. The Aussie bowler then had another, his delivery too good for Cox's defences. The opener bowled for 27. He dealt with Daniel Bell-Drummond too. He was scoreless when he played round the delivery, out LBW. Captain Sam Billings swiftly followed, out LBW to Van der Hoogten for 11, all the morning momentum with the visitors. Stevens looked to get Kent as close to 100 as he could, but if he was going to spare their blushes, he'd have to do it without O'Riordan, the latest man to fall, caught behind for a duck. They'd make it through to 3 figures, the all-rounder once again doing what he could to salvage his side's innings, and with some real intent, scoring at a runner ball. He lost another partner. Neser found Gilchrist's pads to remove him LBW for 12. Stevens, though, responded by carting Douthwaite over the boundary for 6 and looked in the mood for more. Glamorgan were feeling the pain of his assault. Douthwaite hobbled away as he drove one down the ground for 2 to pick up his 50 and take Kent's score to 150. That's where they reached lunch. The all-rounder had dug Kent out of a hole and he didn't look like stopping anytime soon. He put his foot down after the break. The ball sent over the ropes to all parts. No rain to worry about, but his batting brought its own precipitation. The ballistic approach took the value of the 9th wicket partnership to 50, 48 of them coming from his blade. It was quite a spectacle to see, and there was an inevitability about his 8th 6. The ball soared back over Hogan's head and kept going to take him to his 100, scored off 93 balls, just 31 deliveries required to convert his 50. There was no let-up. Salter now sent soaring. An expensive over saw the partnership tick over to 100. Cummins' contribution still just a solitary run. 2 more maximums took the score to 250, some crushing blows for Glamorgan's hopes. And with a single 2 balls later, Stevens moved to 150. His 3rd half-century of his innings scored off just 25 balls. He was speeding up. Labuschagne joined the attack, Glamorgan looking to try something different, but the Aussies' first delivery was wayward to say the least. The partnership was soon worth 150 runs, the mark brought up by Stevens' 15th 6 of the innings. One more and he'd equal a record that has stood for 10 years. He'd have to be content with 190 runs, 15 4s and 15 6s. His incredible innings brought to an end, the Labuschagne experiment finally paying off as Stevens holed out to Salter, but he'd saved Kent's skin. Quinn paid tribute to his departing colleague. His first ball smashed over Salter and the ropes to take the score to 300 runs. Glamorgan finally brought the innings to an end when Cummins hacked Labuschagne onto his own stumps to go for 7, but the damage had been done. Tea taken. You wouldn't begrudge the visitors having a sip of something stronger. Even by his own high standards, Stevens had played a scintillating knock. The 15 maximums he'd hit was far and away the most scored by a player over 40 years old in a first-class innings anywhere in the world. And Glamorgan was suffering again at the restart. Quinn with the first scalp, Lloyd out LBW for 4. Labuschagne looked like he was out for revenge. The first Stevens deliveries he faced were pummeled to the ropes. But Stevens took advantage. Labuschagne's pads were found, and up went the finger. The Aussie with plenty to say as he trudged off. A frustrating day for him. Cook and Root dealt with disruptions and got the innings up and running in earnest. They found their way to 50 runs. But that's where the lights started to fail. The day brought to an end. No further play possible. The score 55 for 2.